Hello everyone, welcome to day 2 of the Season 1 Championship here in Jönköping, Sweden, here in DreamHack. I'm Andrew Beagle.
And I'm Karen Bunuk, and we are your hosts for the day. So day 1 was pretty exciting. We saw Team Pacific and Zan go home. It was very sad, but we can only have one grand final winner at this championship. So, we're forging on. Epic Gaming and TSM already is in the top 4, and we saw a lot of crazy strategies yesterday. Quite totally unexpected. We don't even know. And, let's take a recap of the top 10 best scenes from yesterday into this video.
Sounds good.
Welcome to the top 10 highlights of the day. Highlights from the first day of the League of Legends Season 1 Championship. Now, number 10, we've got going on a team fight between Team Zolamid and Counterlogic Gaming. Annie from across the wall, going to flash onto Nivea, dropping her down with Timbers, immediately egging her, and the team jumps in, picking up that kill right away with really no resistance. And look at that, the jump in from Jarvan, jumping right away as a War Guy's up top, but that Malzahar never even stood a chance. They're going to jump in on Sona as well, and an immediate 4-0 win. Great job there by TSM. And number 9, and Needly is going to fight against Lee Sin up the top of the map. Lee Sin putting out some nice damage there, but Needly's going to back off with their Hotshot GG, healing himself up, but look right down because here comes the rest of Zan, and here comes the run. Perfect flash, dodging Sona's ultimate. Running out into the brush to get that speed buff. Has certainly dodged something by now, and look at that move speed, completely juking the entire team right there. 1v3, no problem. Number 8, and here's another fight in mid between CLG, and this time it's Game DE, and there we go. Vladimir getting pushed around towards the end side, puts a 5v4, and the jump on a Hotshot GG is not going to mean much as he flashes out and is completely safe. But the damage back onto Game means Corky is dead. Warwick gets pushed back. He's going to be actually fine, getting away with almost no health, and the push now back in onto Alistair. The Vladimir ultimate does kill one. Alistair now going to be the next one to die down as Vlad, stuck in between some towers, does pull, and it looks like he's going to be fine actually. Pushing a bunch of damage into Vladimir. Can't quite pick that one up, sorry, on Jana. And he's going to be fine. Number 7, here comes another fight as Vayne gets dropped immediately by Nivea, but now it's a 1v2, and the wall's going to block out Jarvan running away, so he's going to turn around, push on a big fat LP, and here comes the damage output. 1 strike, 2 strike, here comes the flag toss, and then 1 more hit, and there's the kill, and now it's time to run away from Warwick, but Warwick, of course, does have that blood scent activated, trying to run away as fast as he can, trying as hard as he's trying not to die. Another shield comes out, and here's the jump across the wall, barely making it out. He has to run all the way around, jumps into the brush, but here's the mistake. He turns around randomly, getting himself back into range, and then shields, which means actually, let's say, just walk back into range to pick up the kill. A little bit of a mistake there by Rain Man. Number 6, and here comes a team fight at the bottom of the lane. Now look at those little wisps there at the ward, because here comes a Mumu, and Aurelia out of nowhere. Dan doesn't even know what's coming. Instant kill right there. Missed ultimate from Mumu, but it doesn't matter. Free kill picked up by AAA. Number 5, and here's a giant team fight in mid as Akali is trying to run away with under 100 health, getting pushed back by the Terex stun and everything else. And he's going to get caught here. He's going to turn around, just do what damage he can, but here comes Vladimir to pick up the rest of the kills. And Mimu will die, but it's okay because it's a 1v4, and he's going to pick up 1, 2, and the third one getting killed. And he's going to just regroup with his minions and pick up this turret as Jarvan runs away. Number 4, another team that comes up, a giant stun to Yellow Star, getting healed up by Soraka, still trying to run away through that exhaust, but he's going to dive through that turret, that Janna shield working quite well. The silence runs out, and he flashes up to the wall, but here comes the jump in from Linak. The shield's coming in. Can he keep himself alive? He actually runs out of mana, and he's going to be just fine with the Janna pushing him up, and the Vayne pushing him away just barely. Number 3, and Epic is getting ready to push down. It looks like Westrice is going to be the first one in, stunning Yellow Star against that wall, but the tons of hits coming out from Kuja is going to make it very hard for them, but they're going to still dive right in on through. He's going to de-aggro there. It picks up the Misfortune kill. Now onto Kuja is going to jump in there on Dan. The Warwick getting that kill for free, getting out without taking any too much damage. 2-0 tower dive. Clip number 2, we come in, and XPK getting picked up, taking so much damage, he's going to flash and pool, but here comes the amazing Dragon's dropping him back into the entire team. And you thought Vladimir pool was OP, but Dragon's Barrel just a little bit too good for that one. A great pick up there from MoMA. Number 1 clip of the day, we come in, and Dyrus is on Singe, getting chased by 4 members of Against All Authority, running back into his turret despite the flash. no problem. Exhaust, and no real big deal. Gonna run actually right back into the team anyway. Again, a 1v5 this time, and running back, getting back to the turret, and look at that pushback. So as pushed into the turret, Dyra's still alive. And here we go. Here we're gonna go with a 5v4 now into the base, and the Amumu ultimate means tons of damage, but it doesn't really matter as they keep pushing on through, and Dyra's still chasing into that team, and it doesn't matter what they do. The Karthus wall won't stop anyone. Saul's picking up the kill there on Kuja. And the Karthus ultimate won't even pick up the kill, but a great bandit shots in from Amumu. We'll pick up that 1 kill onto Annie, but it's a 4-1 kill. Great job there by Epic Gaming. There's the top 10 clips of the day. Tune in tomorrow.
And as you can see, yesterday was an extremely exciting day. How are we ever going to top that today, Karen?
I don't even know. I'm sure the teams are up all night strategizing. It's going to be really amazing.
It really is.
So we have our first game of the day is AAA versus Gamed. It's going to be a crazy EU showdown. But first, we've got a huge crowd here. On the count of 3, let's get a big League of Legends. 1, 2, 3! League of Legends! All right. And over to Joe and Turley in the commentators booth.
I know exactly how we're going to top the first day.
Really?
It's called Day 2. It's the playoff time. I'm absolutely excited for this one. Of course, we're going to have the relegation games first of all. I'm Joe Miller, by the way. He's Freak. If you didn't already know, I'm pretty sure you already knew about that one. But Freak, how are you doing today?
It's doing well.
Beginning of the day. I should probably ask you, how did you sleep well?
I slept okay actually. Yeah, it was nice. I feel rested. The end of last day, I felt myself dragging. I was like, okay, there's fights going on, and there's fights. And I'm tired. Sorry. Energy drinks go.
I couldn't sleep really well. Now. I just had a singe running around in my head the whole night and just trolling.
Aww. Yeah, anyway, my last night was great. I slept pretty well. It's ready to go game 2. Okay, so now we're going to go and show you guys a tournament tree. So one thing going on here, Joe talked about the relegation matches going on. So right there on the left-hand side, you see the relegation matches, AAA versus Game DE, and Fnatic versus Seal Gaming. So what this is you see that the Epic Gaming and Solomid are already qualified in the upper bracket semifinals. Well, right here we have Against All Authority fighting Game for the chance to even stay alive. The winner goes to top 4 and fights Epic. The loser, done, guaranteed 5th, 6th, but that's it. They're out of the tournament. And same with Fnatic versus Seal Gaming. The winner fights Solomid. The loser, out of the tournament, going to fight for 5th, 6th. Now, not only are they just fighting for elimination and staying in, but also they're playing weighted best of 3s. These are going to be best of 3s with a 1-game advantage, already going to the 2nd place team. So AAA got 2nd in their own group. So they're actually 1-0 in a best of 3, meaning if they go 1-0 or 1-1 in this series, in these games, they move on. Gamed must 2-0 to stay alive. If they lose a game, they're out. They must 2-0. And the same likewise where Seal Gaming got 2nd place in their group, Fnatic got 3rd. And so Seal Gaming just needs to win 1 game across 2, and Fnatic must 2-0. But we're into Game DE versus Against All Authority. Once again, AAA wins 1 game, they're through. Gamed must win 2-0. And so up here in the booth, we are ready. We're going to check with the players, going to check with the hosts and make sure everything else is good. But that's the state of the games right now.
Actually, Yellow Star just asking if the winner will be against TSM, not Epic Gaming. And I think that would be right, because Against All Authority was 2nd seed in Epic's group, so they shouldn't meet them in the semi-final, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it should actually be against Team Solomid, so our apologies there. Or I'm still wrong, and it actually is Epic, but I think it's TSM. Either way, they're fighting for staying alive, so it's not like you're going to not win, not try to win just because of who you're against. But going to go ahead and make sure and check with everyone else and get this game going underway. So what are your predictions for this game, then?
An all-European affair. I can be biased in this one at least. Germany against kind of France. Momo is apparently half French, so he counts as French in my opinion. 50% or above, you count as a Frenchman.
Okay.
That's my ruling on this one.
Okay.
But Against All Authority, obviously they came in as the number 1 seed, Gamed as the number 2 seed. And I was really impressed with what we saw from Game yesterday. They showed some great performances. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't quite enough to push them to, the higher seeding places where they probably wanted to be. Well, obviously where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
But we saw some great, solid performances from the likes of, from Candy Panda in particular, who was impeccable yesterday with Corky, and also Zylo, who we saw playing Alistair, I think, the whole day. Actually, I don't think we really saw him playing anyone else, and both of them had a really great day. Against All Authority, though, they got off to a bit of a ropey start. They brought things back, and I think they've got the motivation to come through with this one.
Okay, yeah, I think my prediction actually is that AAA is in the advantage. This is a repeat of the European finals, the European qualifier finals, and AAA came out on top there 2-0. They went through the win bracket in the first place. They're in great shape. So we're going to go ahead and tell the players that we are ready to go. Start, please. And we're going to get this game underway into the picks and bans. So as we're going to start this game, let's get a quick shout out and a thank you to Own3D for hosting the stream on the website, hosting hundreds of thousands of concurrent viewers. Super awesome for these guys. PaySafeCard sponsoring the HD stream, helping with prizing, rocking stuff there. So we are now on to the picks and bans. First ban already done, Vayne banned out by AAA. They're going to get the first pick here. That will shape the expectations. Candy Panda banning out Aurelia. That is aimed at Soaz, who seems to play a lot of Aurelia. I'm thinking we're going to see another... Oh, there we go. Yes, the Sona ban for AAA. Xenon was talking to me a little bit earlier about which bans they thought were going to be used, and he's like, yeah, Sona is like the one support that NIF plays. We're going to really target him there. Karthus, Rumble, pretty obvious bans there. Again, they're aimed at the other teams and getting rid of these champions.
And last ban from games will be Nidalee, who I don't think in one game that we've sat down and casted together we've seen a Nidalee so far. In some of the other games we got a Nidalee, but not in any of ours. Unfortunately. But yeah, obviously Karthus banned out there. We saw Moma playing a Karthus yesterday. Switched out to a Nivea when Karthus was banned, so I guess we may see a Nivea being picked up fairly early on from Against All Authority in the picks. But Yellow Star is first, and Ashe will be the first choice.
Wow, this feels super old school. I remember like 8 months ago, it was like, you must have Ashe to win. Everyone loves Ashe, and now it's like, oh, yes, there's the first pick, Ashe. So already setting the stage for a fairly defensive bottom lane, but a very utility-focused team so far. Every time I've seen Ashe, unless she gets fed 9-0, she's always sort of holding her team back as far as damage output. She's probably the least damage dealing of the ranged AD carries, but she stuns people and has slows forever. So she is more utility-focused, but we're gonna have to sort of see what sort of control the rest of the team can bring in the damage output. But there's a Mumu and a Nivea picked up. The A team so far all been grabbed, actually. I'm hoping to see Alistair and Annie next, just to round that out. I would love to see that, actually.
Yeah, that's interesting considering we've seen Zyla play such a solid Alistair throughout this one. Maybe it was more of a counter pick than anything else there, taking a Mumu. Obviously, Anivia we saw as Momo's second choice yesterday. Once Karthus was banned, it was all the time Anivia, which is obviously now not available. The picks are exclusive, so you can't have the same champion on both teams. And we see Warwick being picked up as the second choice for Against All Authority.
It's actually really strange to me that normally Nunu is like this top pick, highly contended jungler that everyone seems to really love. Okay, there we go. Switch over to Janna, and so I'm still going to grab that Warwick. Okay, I guess they're going to swap that way. It could be Lanemic, I suppose. I've seen that a couple times in game. But it's kind of interesting to see that Nunu is actually being left on the table here. That the first jungler picked in the game was a Mumu, unless they're really going lane mummy. And then Warwick is picked back. Warwick is good because he can invade onto a Mumu really well. He doesn't need blue buff to do his jungling. He always stays at high health. He's really good at invading, does great damage. But he can't gank nearly as well as a Mumu can or as Nunu can. So that's what's sort of intriguing to see. Warwick can cancel Anivia's ultimate very easily. That suppression will block that out. So I can sort of see some of the purpose there. The fast Janna is just super strong against the Mumu. That's kind of a counter pick there where you grab a Mumu. Wow, and there's the Taric and Tristana choices. So even though they don't get Sona, they're going to grab on Tristana. So yeah, Candy Panda really loves playing Trist, and that's just the instant grab there. They're like, yeah, we're going to take Taric, and of course we're going to take Trist. That's our favorite champion. And, with Vayne banned, it means that they didn't choose to go for Corki or anything else there.
And we're seeing Nunu come in here.
So it is
so
Lane
we're going to see a Lane
or Lane Nunu. All right, cool. I'm actually intrigued by that one. That should be pretty fun. I think Lanewick can beat Anivia pretty strongly.
Yeah, we'll be seeing if anything changes there. For a few of them that are wondering why Linek had Revive and Rai, decided against that one. As a jungler, he's gone for Smite instead. And
it was in case he wanted Evelyn. Well. You got to go Revive to go jungle Evelyn, if you've seen that guide. You got to Lizard Revive with 400 health and then get a free gank. And there's the Malzahar pickup for Momo. This is a pretty strong team, actually, from AAA. They don't have a lot. I don't know. They don't have a lot of area of effects done. They have the single target pin with Ashe, with Malzahar, with the giant Nunu slow with Warwick, but they can't CC entire teams. And so if Game can sort of do these fights right and make their tanks take the damage, they're not really going to die out too quickly. Momo has really high burst damage, but it's single target damage for the most part. Nunu can shell an ultimate, but I see basically the entire team so far for Game can cancel a Nunu ult, so I don't really see that one working too well. I don't know, they're all strong champions. This is sort of an intriguing setup here still. I'm not quite sure if this is the most synergy I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think with the Nivea in the team, that would have been, you know, fairly decent to be able to wall off and just single target nuke pretty much everyone that got stuck behind the wall. But obviously that's not the case, and we've seen the champions just being switched between people. So soaz is going to be playing Warwick, and I guess, we'll be playing him on lane. Obviously, Nunu going to be the jungler there. Over on the other side, Xylo jungling with a Mumu, and it will be Kevin who takes Anivia. Obviously, Candy Panda, who we've seen playing, those standard AD carry kind of champions before. This time he's going to be playing Tristana. We've seen him playing great Corki. And actually, I think Candy has a lot of fans out there somehow. Not somehow, because he is a very, very skilled player. But, you know, he does have a lot of fans out there. And, you know, this is a make or break game for Game. I mean, against All Authority, as you mentioned before, this is a weighted best of 3. So basically, Game have to win 2-0. Otherwise, their tournament is over.
Yeah, and you know, I really do like the Game lineup. We've seen actually Brand win a fair number of his games. He's really underappreciated in North American play, so I just do not see him played almost at all. And I actually haven't yet casted a game, I think, with Brand in there at all. I've never like casted, oh, here comes the Pyroclasm for the damage output. So a lot of, you know, new heroes in the game for my casting in this one. I don't think I've ever actually casted a Brand, so that'll be really fun for me. Nor have I seen him in ranked ever, so this should be really intriguing. But I do like their overall mage setup. You know, I talked about how on AAA, right, they need a lot of damage to compensate for the fact that Ashe is not the highest damage champion, and I still don't really like this lineup. You know, Lane Wick and Nunu, that's going to give a lot of attack speed to that team, so Ashe can really belt out some damage. It's going to help her quite a lot. Yeah. But, you know, I'm afraid of the lane they're against because Janna can babysit really well, but she can't heal. And you look at the Tristana Taric lane, that is super aggressive. Both have Flash. Tristana has Ignite, which doesn't mean a lot against Janna. There's no real like major healers on that team except for the Warwick self-healing, and sure enough, 3 Ignites on Game to really shut down Warwick. But I really like the bottom lane, that aggressive lane from Game. Malzahar versus Brand, I think, would go slightly to Brand's favor. Anivia versus Warwick. Warwick's not going to die no matter who he's against, so he's probably going to win that lane.
So let's get down to the nitty-gritty for who's going to win this one. Actually, you were a somewhat of a Games fanboy yesterday. Yeah, actually, you predicted them to go through first in the group stage. They ended up in third, which
and I picked the
TSM
close,
fourth,
and
I guess.
they got first.
Yeah,
I was totally close on that one. I got almost all of them right.
To be fair, before the last game kicked off, you could have been right.
I was almost right.
But
I got CLG
TSM,
second.
of course, spoiled it by winning their game and finishing first.
I got CLG second properly. I did get that Xan would beat TSM. Like, I got, like, you know, 50% of the predictions right. You know, I was almost totally good at this.
Yeah, after that first game, TSM against Senna, I saw Freak backstage, and I was just like, I can't believe you guessed that one right. Absolutely unbelievable.
But here we go. We're going to get this game underway real quick. Let's get a round of applause from the audience real quick. The first game of the day, AAA versus Game. Let's hear it, everybody. All right, everybody, and welcome back to the game. I know that 4 seconds apart was heartbreaking for all of you. I think I missed 5 kills during that time. I was talking about CS in the background. It was terrible. I apologize. We missed everything. The game's actually over. This is game 2. Okay, sorry. So bad jokes are good, apparently. So Ashe leading the way with her team. They've got a really strong level 1 team, I think. They've got the John Tornado. Ashe got some burst damage. Nunu has great slowing. They're still waiting for Warwick, actually, who's chilling in the base.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a problem with soaz there, maybe.
Yeah, we might actually have to remake him so I was like somehow. No, he's back. He's walking around. He's fine. I think he was like debating what he wanted to buy. I'm not sure. As it is, they're playing defensively anyway. I think the level 1 team actually much better for Game. They've got the stun from Mumu and Taric, the stun from Anivia, tons and tons of damage output from his Brand. So Warwick make his way across the map and see what he managed to pick up. Doran's ring to open, definitely a lane wick at this point. I mean, we knew that anyway, but still. Doran's ring to open with Warwick means more mana for his heals, and his heal's going to do more damage and does heal more. Kuja opened up with 3 wards on his opening buy. Very much support-oriented there.
Yeah, fairly standard stuff. We see the 3 wards coming out from Taric as well.
That's pretty smart.
And obviously, Game spreading out into that bottom area of the river, then deciding that they're not going to go any, into any kind of aggressive position from there. Linak, though, is going to go and consume the big Wraith and get himself back away from that. So nice little steal early on from the jungle of Games by against All Authority, and I guess he's probably going to go back in towards his pattern. We'll see.
Oh, MoMA has quit. That's... Okay, we're going to restart, actually. So, unfortunately, in this game, we're going to have this one come back up a little bit. And we'll have the game come back up in just a second. I'm going to host this one. Actually, I can't host. I'm a spectator. Cool. All right, we're going to have someone host up in the background, get this game going back underway. So that game started out really powerfully. First experience game did go to Nunu, consumed a minion, which is every single game of Nunu ever. I think people have to start expecting that one. But looks like the game is back up. I'm the spectator. Tournament draft going to be still the game mode. Going to have everyone just pound on through, grab their champions, get this game underway in the next 4 minutes.
Yeah, we should be underway here soon. So we can talk a little bit about the favorites once again.
Yeah.
I said against Full Authority for this one. Are you still with Gamed?
I like the lineup for Gamed. I think they have the slightly stronger team comp. Even though I'm talking about how Ash doesn't do too much damage, even though they have 2 champions that can buffer. I don't know. I'm liking the Tristana Taric lane. I think just Taric is like the support to have. I don't really just see the team composition synergy in AAA's lineup. They all have great champions who do lots of good things. But unless they can consistently pick out one target, land an arrow, land a Malzult, land a Oracle, and then kill someone, and then pull back and fight a 5v4, I don't quite see how that team's going to work in the larger team fights where you can stun Malzahar with Taric or really anyone. I mean, all the champions on the team have stuns. Every single one, Tristana can push back Warwick. Every single one of them can stun the Malzahar, so they can really break all these channeled suppression spells. And that's really all they have. Their damage output is from those suppression comps. And we saw actually at IEM way back when, I think it was AAA vs Fnatic. Where AAA ran this giant suppression got they had Urgot and Malzahar and Warwick, and it was like 5 Quicksilver Sashes, and 40 minutes in the game they finally turned that one around and won. Where early on suppression was getting them a lot of kills. They were up like 15 kills or so, and they were like, well, Quicksilver Sash, press 2, good to go.
You're finished.
Fight comes through. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing I'm predicting here. If AAA can push through, and here's the thing, right? They can run like a very aggressive team comp and try to win first game and really sort of unsettle the game to team. And one is victory. They can push on, and they're going to play in the winner bracket semifinals. Game has to win this one and then come on through, which means that AAA can really just go for an all-in sort of a gimmicky strategy, which I think this one kind of is a little bit, and then pull back and be fine. So. I think Game will win this game. I think AAA, though, can come back and push on through. I actually predicted that my prediction still is that the grand finals will be AAA versus Epic. I think it's going to be a reshowing of the very first game of the day, where AAA is going to be in slightly better form. I actually think Fnatic's going to win the other relegation match as well, that they'll 2-0. And I think we'll see 2-2, and I think AAA Epic is the grand finals.
Yeah, and from an independent commentator's point of view, as I like to think I sometimes am, 2 American teams, 2 European teams would be the ideal for me. But also, if we get 3 American teams and 1 European team, then everyone's going to be cheering that team on from Europe. So.
Yeah. So now it's the bans. They got to make sure they don't accidentally ban a champion that they actually wanted to pick. They should be okay with this. Yeah, the Vayne, Aurelia, Rumble, the standard bans coming out right now. This should only be about 3 minutes in this champion select. Karth is being banned. Sona, man, they're going faster than I can even commentate them, but I think we all know this for the most part. When we eventually switch to the PvP net screen, you'll see those again in the diagram back there. But all these bans have been aimed at specific players, at the champions that these players like to play, and the things that they do really, really well. And that's the Aurelia, the Karthus, the Nidalee. Those are specifically aimed at Soaz and MoMA. Over here, the Vayne, Rumble, and Sona bans. Sona very much aimed at NIF. Rumble aimed at I don't actually know who on that team plays Rumble. They just never get to play him. I just know that Game is a team that plays him. Vayne is, I think it's actually more of a standard range DPS. Kevin usually plays Rumble. Kevin's the Rumble player. Okay, cool. And they just have, then Rake just plays the other mage. But yeah, Kevin's been the one who's kind of gone back and forth. Whether they do a double mage lineup or a mage plus a tanky DPS. Rake seems to be the main mage player, and they transition from there. Well, the team's obviously just picking up their champions here. They are going to have the 2 minutes of time to talk once again, but that's all fine. Gives them a little bit more time to get through this one. And they're certainly going to use that time to go ahead and talk about strategies and what they're going to do to open up the game. Cyanide wants to be your friend. Yeah, he does want to be my friend. That's cool. Now Cyanide is my buddy on PvPnet. Thanks, Cyanide. I'm glad we can be buddies for this short time we're still here. Otherwise, I'll probably never talk to you again. I'm sorry. So so I guess we talked about our predictions already. I'm liking the Mass Ignites over here on Games. AAA actually running the 2 as well. And yeah, we got the Cleanse Ashe. Makes a lot of sense. Look at that lineup and it's like stun, 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 and stun. So I'm going to run Cleanse. Cleanse could be a good choice there. Yeah, when any single person on the enemy team except Tristana can stun you. Actually, there's not a lot to cleanse after Sona. I mean, the slow from Rocket Jump, but yeah, mass stuns there. You see that there's no cleanse on the Game team because we're all going to run Quicksilver Sashes anyway. But yeah, it's a pretty good setup here. I like that Candy Panda has 2 healing reductions with Ignite and Explosive Shot. Kevin's going to be very aggressive here as well. Interesting to see, actually, that Kevin's actually not running 2 mobility spells, Ghost and Flash, because I think Anivi is the most positioning reliant of the mages. I get Karthus as well, but you really want to get in there. If you can Ghost and land a wall, you can win a team fight with that. I mean, Ignite can get you a kill, which is great, and that can win you some fights, but let Rake have that one. He doesn't need to position himself quite as much as Anivi really does. If I were all-seeing and all-knowing, I would have switched those, but I trust their judgment anyway, of course.
Well, game against Authority is coming up here very, very shortly. Obviously, we did have to make a regame. I think Moment just had some kind of crash, and
yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Got straight back in there. But we're going to be kicking off. We could maybe touch a little bit on what's coming up in terms of the schedule of today. Obviously, this is the first game coming up. Next up will be Fnatic versus CLG. And we actually have some posters in the way of seeing the whole tournament area now. So I can't actually check out everything, but I can see Fnatic here, who are the closest team to us. So they're all kind of warming up and having a little bit of discussion as to what's going on.
And actually, talk about the schedule real quick. I almost forgot to say this. So we have a schedule posted, which is 11 o'clock. Slightly we're behind that, of course. For the first game, 1300 for the next relegation, 15, 16, 1900. What we're actually going to do, though, is actually push those matches forward. As soon as this best of 3 or best of 2, really, I guess, is done, we're starting the next match. It doesn't matter if it's late or early or whatever. We are starting the next match right after. When those games are done, we're pushing the next match up. We're going to constantly push forward, so we're not going to have hour-long downtimes in case the games go 1-0. Yeah. So stay tuned right after this game is done. Don't come back at 1300. Stay here. The next games are coming up.
Get a drink, get your popcorn, stay on your computer all day long. As I'm pretty sure a lot of you did yesterday as well, judging by the amount of people that were watching the stream. So let's have a round of applause then. Once again, it is Game versus against Authority, the relegation game.
Everybody, and welcome back to the game once again. AAA in the bottom left, the same 5 champions. They've all actually left the base this time. SOAS now actually joining the team in that turret. They're playing Ring Around the Rosy right now. SOAS getting his Dizzy on right now, hoping that that'll work out well for him. Meanwhile, Games against camping in the same position as before. They're sort of in the bottom right corner, kind of playing defensively on their jungle. I'm still surprised that they're not saying, hey, let's go find Nunu who's going to steal the wraiths, because Nunu always steals the wraiths. I don't know, it seems like when 99% of the time one thing happens, you can plan for that and do things to your opponent because of that. They could have it would have been great. They could have sat right here and Nunu walks around this corner and gets owned. No one clairvoyance is this spot. No, the clairvoyance, up here or so, and plant the ward down, but no one clairvoyance is here, and you could just camp, and the line of sight's right there. Would have totally worked. IMO would have been a free first blood on the Nunu. I think that would have been the smart play. But what do I know? I can actually see everything, so that's all hindsight.
And Linux actually is doing exactly the same as we saw him before we got the regame, and sitting right on those wraiths. And I don't think that anyone from Game is actually going to come over there once again. So yeah, we will just take down the big wraith right from the start. So very similar or identical start to what we saw actually in the game before we had to have that regame coming in. And we will be seeing, I guess, Nif, or no, Kevin actually, who will be pulling the blue buff for Zyla. So Mumu going to get started on his jungling pattern here as we kick off the game.
Yep, so here comes the lane in the bottom of the map. Looks like Tristana is waiting for Tarek to show up, as they haven't really seen the enemy champions. AAA actually hiding in the brush, and Tristana's like, where's the enemy team? But they have seen Warwick and Malzahar, so they feel pretty safe. They move on, and they're going to start last hitting. Tarek will sit in that top brush, waiting around to see if he's going to get ganked. Actually, an early ward coming out. That's actually pretty smart, because they should be afraid of that Nunu, and of course they are. Linak already getting his golem buff. That's going to be strong for him. He's actually going to immediately run up towards the top. He might play the invasion game, or he might gank Brand. Brand is available to get hit a little bit. He shouldn't take too much damage, but it's going to be worth Nunu showing up. So here he comes. Linak going to lead his way up from the brush. Rake won't see him coming in time. He will get a little bit of free damage there. Ice Blast actually doing some decent damage, actually, about 60 points, so they'll get regenerated over time, but still not too bad. Looks like Nunu has some nice movement speed as well, 387 as he walks around. Looks like Amumu will clear out the rest of this camp here. Those spells coming out, getting himself some nice kills, and he's probably going to recall back, as it looks like he's... actually, he's going kind of some weird direction. Oh, I think he might come to gank or something. I'm not quite sure what he's up to. He's kind of running around. Oh, he's going to go invade the jungle, because he saw that Linak ganked top. He's going to invade and take these neutrals down at the bottom of the map. That's actually extremely smart from Xylor. That's definitely the right play to do. Yeah, Nina will get golems, but Mumu has pretty good range. Here comes some push at the bottom. Yellowstar getting really low, and there comes Candy Panda putting out some harassment damage, and Kuja shields himself instead of his teammates. So Yellowstar getting some free harass, and she's getting lower and lower, down to 250 health, and that's the support player I want. Oh, there's some damage output? Let me shield myself.
No, that's the support player that I play. I support myself and no one else.
The Joe Miller of supports. Ooh, Malzahar actually finding a Mumu. He actually knew what he was trying to go for here. Finds him down at the bottom of the map, and he's actually covered that so that Linak can now come down and get his own raids. So that's pretty smart.
And Momo actually putting a fair bit of pressure on this middle area. Obviously, Anivia being fairly safe anyway with Kevin.
Yep, getting a little bit low, but Momo overall doing a pretty good job. The gold is slightly in the advantage of AAA for now. Against All Authority, ahead by 100 gold total, which doesn't mean much of anything, but for what that's worth, they are slightly winning by the metrics that we can see. And here comes again the push on Yellowstar. So much damage. Ignite coming in as well. And the flash for the push, but he's going to have to run back out of range of the turret. He's going to take a heal from Tarek and be okay, but that Ashe, 29 health. The thing is, if Triss didn't run backwards, he would have picked up the kill, and I think that would have been worth it, is to get that first blood. Type worth it in chat and get that extra gold right there. But Warwick now going to fight against Mumu up top. His brand has pulled back to go heal. He did get pushed around by that lane wick. Xyler not going to do too much to Soaz. Soaz actually staying in there, just sweeping away at him, getting a lot of health. 100 HP gain from that Q right there. And he's going to be pretty much happy with how that turned out.
Candy Panda does have, has actually leveled twice the rocket jump skill, so does have that nice escapability anyway. And we shall see how that goes. We can see Linak pushing a little bit aggressive there, just trying to zone game D out, and obviously they are a little bit wary. Linak already up at level 4. They need to be careful that he doesn't catch them out of position, but Linak is going to be, no he's not actually, decides to stick around.
Interesting, yeah, they're going to camp the brush. You can see the Candy Panda and Nif are definitely pushed back, unable to do anything. The Clairvoyance goes out, so he's going to start recalling. And he might actually bait some damage up here from game. They're going to push forward, and he's going to throw out an Ice Blast onto Candy Panda. He will heal that back, but it's free harass, so why not? He'll take a shield and actually recall back again. Now he's going to go in for another Ice Blast, and Ashe will just barely miss that volley. They're going to push on for quite a bit of damage here. Candy Panda getting quite low, actually, and that's going to be pretty painful. So nice aggression there from against All Authority. They managed to get themselves some decent advantage there. But Rake actually unopposed in the top lane. Going to wait for Warwick to come on back. Has picked up a couple more items. Looks like this could be a fast Spirit Visage. So far, he's got the Null Magic Mantle so far with those boots.
Yep, I think the Spirit Visage will be coming out early on, as we see Yellowstar actually starting to push up in towards Candy Pan, who did go down a little bit earlier on, fairly low. We saw Linak putting the aggression in. Obviously, Kevin around this middle area is going to be kind of mopping up. We will be seeing Momo going down. He is actually really low HP after a little bit of a tussle there, and does buy himself pretty much his catalyst, obviously the Sapphire Crystal and the Ruby Crystal.
Yeah, he's going to be okay with how that turns out.
Up at the top, Rake was putting a little bit of pressure onto Soaz. Actually, the stun will come in, and that'll be a decent amount of damage put out by Rake. Down at the bottom, we have a little bit of a tussle once again as Candy Pen just rocket jumps away, just because it's faster that way, even though there was no pressure on him whatsoever. Oh, this could be interesting though. Yeah, and he actually will get caught there. And that will stop Candy Pandy going back as early as he wanted to. Kevin also going home in middle. So game are being forced to portal home, in fact, on all 3 lanes right now.
Wow, every single one, you're right. Yeah, well, Rick's just going to stay around for a little while longer. He's picked up boots, he's got health potions. You shouldn't be too afraid of Warwick just yet, but Warwick with 81 magic resist, really not afraid of Rake anymore. He will put out some harass damage, but you just look at Soaz and he's like, yeah, I took some damage, but I'm still lane wick, so slash care right there. And yeah, 175 health per Q. He's got some decent mana regen coming through. He's going to be pretty much fine in this game. He's not really too worried about how this game turns out. I'm sorry, he's worried about this game turns out, but he's not worried about his progress in lane. He's going to be pretty much fine here, and that's going to work out well for him. Momo versus Kevin in mid. Kevin does have the tier of the goddess already, so not really building any health in this Anivia. Going for the fast tier, going for a lot of mana. Turn that into an Archangel staff later in this game. Some harass from Malzahar going to kill out these minions pretty quickly, but Kevin basically mostly worried about his mana pool, and Momo's actually not pressing on him too hard. It looks like the Golem is going to be under attack now. He's going to go to Moma. Going to use that Call of the Void. Going to pick that one up. Level 7 with the Golem buff is a pretty scary Malzahar, so it's going to be alright. But bottom lane, looks like some harass came out onto Yellowstar, taking a bit of damage from that Tarek Tristana combo.
Yeah, once again, the aggressive rocket jump in there from Candy Panda, just putting out some damage onto Yellow Star, who, of course, does have those health pots, so not going to be too much of a shame for him, but Candy Panda just trying to zone him out there of any experience that they might be able to be picking up. And it looks like they are going to get a few minions down onto that turret. Meanwhile, inside of middle, and Mumu was hanging around there for a brief second, and we're actually going to see maybe Rake and Soaz go up here at the top, as yeah, both players do have a ward down in that bush just to cover a little bit earlier on from any ganks that may come in there. And obviously they exchange a little bit of damage, but nothing really to write home about. We've just seen Soaz actually level up to level 7. Rake, I think, a little bit faster than him at this stage. If we look down at the kills, actually 65 for Warwick and, whoa, 36 for Rake.
Wow, Lanewick is going very, very well. The Malzahar also at 63, and he's completely outlaning Anivi, who's only at 53. So far, AAA definitely doing much better in the gold income. 56 on Ashe, only 47 on Trace, and there's the damage output, doing a ton of damage here, but unfortunately misses the Ashe arrow, so Nif will be fine. Level 5 Tarek almost has his first Philosopher's Stone. He's got everything but the recipe right now. Going to be all right. Up atop, Rake fighting Soaz. Not too much happening. Soaz will juke that Q right there. Rake still last hitting decently, but again, not as well as Warwick. Soaz really immovable here in lane. Getting a lot of free damage up here again. Pretty much unafraid of any harassment. He's got so much mana resist. Now 83. That Doran's ring giving him a ton of ability, power, and mana regen. Even a little bit of base health. Really is difficult to push that Warwick around at this point.
Yeah, and I'm not sure at which point Rake's feeling that he can probably be winning this lane. He's definitely way behind in terms of the minion kills up on this top lane. But I guess his job against Soaz right now is just to hold it and make sure that he doesn't die. Most importantly, we still, of course, haven't seen first blood. 10 minutes have just gone on the clock as well, and we are going to see some aggression down bottom here from Candy Panda. Does do the rocket jump in. Is taking a bit of damage back from Kuja, who with Janna not going to be doing all that much damage anyway, but still, and we are possibly going to see something up at top here as well, actually, as Kevin and Zyler have come in, and the wall was put down. Soaz did decide to flash over the top of it, and it got him out safely, losing barely a single bit of health.
Yeah, the flash is down though, which is really good. That is the only escape spell that Warwick has, so that gank can come back a little while later, and unless he went utility spec, and it's probably not the case. It seems like most of the players who seem to like laning tanky DPS run a good 20 points in defense, so that'll be a good 4 minutes or so until he can flash again, and that's going to be the opening window these guys will have to gank top. He's going to be by himself, does not have really good escape tools either. He does have that spear visit, so he's going to be nice and healthy. But again, if you have a chain stun team, it doesn't really matter how much durability you have this early on in the game. The base damages on spells will overpower your health, and that's what they're going to hope for here. So Mumu's sort of waiting in the brush at the bottom, but not going to get too much out of that right now. Yellow Star will continue to last hit. I think he screwed that one up though, hit that minion a little bit too early, lost that gold output. Yes, I am indeed commentating about last hitting. This is what I do. And these minions are doing, a little bit of damage to that turret, actually. Yellow Star not doing a great job here, actually missing most of them. But hey, he's still winning overall in the lane. Momo fighting versus Kevin. Momo on the losing end of that, as Kevin now has the golem buff, and Momo does, his has timed out now. Kevin going to be playing not so aggressively anymore. He's going to use his ultimate to basically just channel down and kill these minions off. Level 9 on both these champions. 84 onto Anivia. Only 78 now on Malzahar. Yeah, so now that Anivia has hit level 6, she can pretty much infinite last hit everything forever. There's a lot of superfluousness in that sentence. But you know what? Whatever. Hyperbole is awesome. And just doing really well on Anivia right now.
We'll see down that bottom area the hawk shot go off into the bush, which will reveal Nif. Not that Against All Authority were going aggressive or anything in towards that one, but the thing about Tarek is so annoying inside of these bushes. Unless you really ward it up constantly, he's just going to sit there, and you come anywhere close and won't necessarily stun you, but that's always the fear for Against All Authority, that they're going to go close to that bush, they're going to get stunned. Candy Panda's going to rocket jump in there, and all of a sudden you're in there, and we actually see a Mumu move in there with the ultimate, and there is first blood. It actually comes to Candy Panda, and he's going to rocket jump right in onto Yellow Star. Is he going to take kill number 2? Yes, he is. Great play from Game. Absolutely amazing. Candy Panda going 2 for 0. And they are going to take down the first turret of the game as well. They've got plenty of minions there. Got enough attack damage to make this happen? No. Okay.
Wow, I don't know if they're afraid of Nunu, but they really could have gone for that. They had Tarek was 6 by this point, I believe. He could have turned the ult on. Candy Panda I'm going to check real quick if he's actually leveled up. Rapid Fire has not actually, so he's been all about just the rocket jump explosive shot damage output. I can't blame him. That worked so incredibly well, and it was beautiful to see that as they got that kill just on the Janna dying gave the kill onto Ash because it meant that Candy Panda could rocket jump again, slow down Ash and be fine. And it was great play by Yellowstar too because he actually cleansed the stun from Mumu and Flash before Mumu popped the ultimate, so he's actually out of range of that and was completely safe. But I don't know if he stuck around a little bit too much or just couldn't run away fast enough. But that became really, really unfortunate there for the AAA team. And game, like I said, they're up 2-0 so far. And despite the double kill, they're actually almost equal in gold. So again, against all authorities, minion killing skills, pretty much unmatched this entire tournament. I've not seen any teams outlane as far as gold income is concerned. But the push onto Nif will land the stun. This guy is so incredibly dead. Tarek going down, Momo getting the kill there. That's nice for him. He really wants that gold, and they're going to position themselves for Dragon. Beautiful play by AAA. Managed to say, okay, look, we're going to go for Dragon. We're going to catch someone out, and there's the pink ward to clear the wards. This is just completely correct play by them. Warwick even came down from the top to make sure that happened, and so they've gotten themselves a nice advantage now, bringing it back to 1-2 on kills, getting the only Dragon of the game. And your Candy Panda going to defend his turret against 4, though, as Warwick comes in. Candy Panda, I don't know what he can do, but he can rocket jump in. And the flash pushes back Nunu, running away, but Janna is now showing up for the slow. There's the Ice Blast as well. Candy Panda, I'm sorry, bro. It was a nice try, but 2-2, well played by AAA.
Yeah, Candy Panda probably a little bit annoyed because after that double kill went back, Berserker's Greaves, BF Sword was feeling all so mighty, and then 4 against 1.
Yeah.
But did a decent job of trying to get away. But we are seeing the Nivea actually, obviously played by Kevin in this middle, just pushing in quite nicely. He's got a big minion wave obviously with him as well. Damage going to go out onto that turret. We saw Rake up at top with Brand trying to do a similar job, but couldn't quite clear out the minions in time to be pushing it in onto that one. So the scoreline sits at 2-2. Obviously 18.8 thousand gold to 16.7. In favour, of course, of Against All Authority. They've just done that Dragon, which really helps them out going forward. But if we look at the ward coverage at this point, it's actually really nicely in the favour of Game as well. They've got pretty much the whole river warded out.
Yeah, it's really good by them for sure.
Which is not going to really last too long, as I spot Kuji does now have an Oracle, so...
Yeah, and also doesn't mean much because that Dragon was taken anyway. The Kuja with Oracles is super strong because she will clear out these wards across the map and really, take away that map control advantage. But the bottom lane, those wards don't mean much anymore just because, ganks might matter, but with that turret down, that changes the entire dynamic of how these ganks can be shaped. So they do have that one ward in the back rushed by their golem. That's going to really keep them alive because the ganks can all come through this avenue right here, and that's where they need to be watchful. So that is the right place to put a ward. Good there by Gamed, but overall the advantage is really good for AAA, and you just see Moma charging across the map, coming towards top, going to support that Warwick, and actually they might push down on Brand, who's kind of by himself in the jungle, and this could be scary actually. So yeah, Rig very afraid to defend. Looks like 3 members of AAA. This is again a double suppression setup. This was what I was talking about earlier, where this early game is going to be super good for them, where they can pick down single targets. This is the advantages they need to build. But in late game, I still think, Game doing a good job. And Amumu will flash over the wall, and here comes Tarek. Looks like Nunu going to take the stun first, and here comes the rest of the team. We'll miss that silence. And here is the damage output. It is immense. And who are they going to go for first? Looks like Moma in front, taking the Pyroclasm. Leenock extremely low as well. But they can't quite pick up any of these kills, but it does give them a nice 4v3 advantage up at top. And they're actually not going to do anything with it, though. They're actually going to back off entirely. Ashman pushing mid, doing some pretty good damage. This turret down to about 2/3. And looks like they're going to catch. Oh, they're going to catch a 2v2 in this fight. Can Brand do enough damage? This Anivia getting extremely low. And yes, Janna will die. Game DE picking up that kill. And now Soa's taking a stun from Tarek. The wall out. The damage from Rake is huge. Can they pick up Xylor? Looks like not, but Ash doing some good damage as well. And yes, Xylor will die to Soa's Ignite, and he will stay alive in the meantime. So 1 for 1, good kills so far. Looks like Ash going to flash away as best she can. Going to be fine with that cleanse. 1 for 1 there. And that's some wonderful stuff. The trade is pretty decent, but Game is positioned to take this turret down, and Soaz still kind of alone here. Candy Panda could make the push, but he's been spotted. Oh, they found Nunu, and Nunu's been blocked off. That damage output is huge, and he has gone down. Wow, that was
out of position completely there from Linek. I'm not sure what his idea was. I mean, Momo was behind him, Yellow Star was around there somewhere. Soaz was actually coming in from turret side, but it just didn't work out whatsoever and gave the We see Kevin there just putting down that defensive wall with Anivia, and they're going to get themselves out of there. And for Game, that was a really good trade-off, and they're actually now ahead again in the kills.
They are back up to 4-3. Unfortunately, still down 2,000 gold. That's what happens when you kill 2 turrets and a dragon. It's pretty much the gold advantage is those 2 turrets and a dragon. The minion kills plus champion kills, the gold from that is all equaled out. The total experience levels, we look, 10-7, 12-12, 8, pretty strong. 8-11, 10, 8, 12. Yeah, it's a slight advantage, I think, for AAA. That's going to be nice for them, but it's not too far ahead. Look at the Malzahar, he's got 121 ability power. We look over at Raked, he's got only 54. Anivia with only 83. So Malzahar definitely the most farmed mage in the game so far. We look over, we compare, whoops, that's the wrong one. We look at Ashe. She's got 170 AD, the BF Sword plus the Berserker's Greaves. Candy Panda, meanwhile, really pretty much the same items actually. Has not really bought anything else, though I feel like Candy Panda should be the more farmed one. He's got 131 minion kills, slight advantage there. He's got more kills as Ashe has 0 and Candy Panda has 2. So overall, Triss should be slightly more farmed in this game. And that should actually play out for a great advantage. Triss able to do more damage than Ashe. Not only does she have her own steroid with rocket, sorry, not with rocket, but with rapid fire, but also does have more attack range past level 6 or so. And that's going to be the big advantage that she really wants to have.
Yeah, we've just seen the top tower being pushed down by Yellow Star, and obviously Game just backing away from that. It was a 1 versus 2. No reason to stick around a turret that's so low in HP anyway. And they may just try and probe out here. Still 4 from Game hanging around, so I'm not sure that they're going to go in for that one. It looks like Against All Authority are going to head back off towards the middle area. And actually, they've just spotted this Against All Authority team coming down there. There is a ward placed exactly where Against All Authority have just put theirs down in that bush. And we are going to see soAa's initiate this fight. Kevin's in a little bit of trouble here. soAa's is going to be in there and annoying, although we will see Kuji go down first of all. That's not the greatest thing for Against All Authorities. We see Candy Panda, rocket jumps in onto soAa's. Ignite was put out there, but we see a very aggressive counter push once again. Candy Panda is going to go down. Kevin is there for the taking if they go around. Not quite just yet. Nif will go down. They can continue to push here. Rake was really completely low. Kevin is low as well. And Yellow Star will have to back away from that one. His health far from healthy as well. And we have a 3-0 there it was in the end. 3-1 in the end. Nice trade-off again from Against All Authority.
It was very, very strong there. I mean, they came so close to losing some of those champions. Warwick got in the front. Warwick put it beautifully, actually. He jumped right away into the enemy team, took out pretty much all the burst damage. You can see that, Candy Panda uses ultimate there, uses Ignite. They threw out so much damage into soAa's, and it did not matter. He really should have not played quite so aggressively and been a little bit more defensive after he killed that Janna, because he would have picked up the kill on Ashe. He would have defended those last few kills there as the battle winded down. He played that one slightly wrong, unfortunately, but in the end, although they did lose a lot of champions, they lost that one 3-1. They did kill the Janna, who was wearing oracles, and I'll see if she's rebought one. Looks like she has not. So although they lost another 600 gold worth of champion kills, they did kill that 400 gold oracles. That's going to help them with ward control. So that will keep Janna down a bit. Janna did not get any of the kill credits there, so she's still stuck with that Philosopher's Stone and not much gold. So she's going to be without oracles probably for some time, and she still has to spend money on wards. AAA going to go for the dragon kill, and Game knows about it. And because they have the ward just up there at the top of the map, and they are going to come and fight this. And this could be really good positioning. They can block off the enemy team. They've got 2 of them stuck inside that wall. They could go for this push if they have all 5. They can use the Anivia wall, block off the 2 melee, and just go and crush faces. They really, really, really need to go right now. I don't know. I really think they could have gone for that one. Walled off Nunu and been completely fine to fight them. And just jumped right away onto that Malzahar, but maybe, I guess Mimu had no ultimate. That was a kind of a big deal. Everyone else did have theirs, though. Leonock didn't have his ultimate either, so that would have been a decent trade. No Absolute Zero, no Curse of the Sad Mummy. Slightly better to not have Nunu than to have no Mimu ultimate, but still, I think that would have been a decent fight for them, especially with Anivia having Golem.
Yeah, and that's the dangerous thing in that situation, fighting inside of the Dragon Pit, if you want to call it that. Especially when there's Anivia on the other team, you get sealed off, and it's going to be hell for your teammates until that wall obviously finishes off. So we are seeing Game put a little bit of pressure down in this middle. soAa's does now have the Sunfire Cape, and there's another nice wall in. Good defensive arrow actually coming out from Ashe, and Against All Authority are going to initiate the fight onto this one. Game trying to work their way out. Xylo in a little bit of trouble, is going to be pushed down, is going to be killed. Candy Panda actually rocket jumps his way out of that situation, and Game are going to survive with 4. But against all authority, you know, they got those kills. Didn't lose so much health from it either, as the defensive walls continuing to come out from Kevin. Doing a good job of stopping against all authority, pushing anywhere more. And we see a ping from against all authority over by this top turret. Yeah, there's a massive minion stack up there. That could be really... I think this turret might go down, you know.
Actually, yeah, the minions up top are going to do a really good job. This is really, really, really good for game. They really need these turret kills. They did get the one in mid. They lost a champion for it, but I think a turret kill is worth a champion death. They managed to kill Amumu half a second before his ultimate came up. Even if he had gotten the cooldown for it, probably would have just been a wasted cooldown and not really gotten him a giant advantage. Gamed all the way at bottom, but that's going to allow Baron for aAA. They have been clairvoyanced, but they don't care because they know Gamed is far away. The problem is most of AAA has not gotten into range yet. It's just a 3v Baron. It's going down, but I think Game can make it in time because Amumu and Anivia are close by. Is going to waste a couple of the cooldowns of the AAA players. Momo, though, with Golem doesn't care too much, but his health is kind of low, and he's going to have to actually have to recall because of that play, and I think that went okay for Game because they got some free minion kills. Now they're back in mid killing more minions, and AAA is still on the back foot right now because they took all that damage from trying Baron. They baited it out just properly. I don't think that was really the intention of like, hey, we're going to make you do it with 3 and get you low, but I think Games knew they were safe enough that they could run bottom, force a little bit of a play, and still get a little bit of damage off on that turret. You can see it down just to 290 health, so Game has 2 turrets that are just right there ready to be taken, and that's going to bring them right back into this game if they can get that. 750 gold apiece spread across the team. You get 2 of those and you're back up to about 2,800 gold, and that's not really a big disadvantage anymore.
We have Oracle's Elixir being bought by Nif on Tarek, so as soon as he drinks that, then obviously we'll be able to clear out any wards, which right now are really focused around that Baron area from against all authority. We saw them pushing there a little bit earlier on, but forced away again. Yeah, right now I'm just going to finish off the top lane, get some nice farm up there.
Yeah, just kind of getting some nice gold. And the cool thing about how this game is shaping up so far is the carries for both teams are getting all the kills. Ooh, Ash. Ooh, that almost hit Nif. He actually was safe. He didn't need to flash that, but he did anyway. That's going to be unfortunate. It's going to allow them a pretty easy kill on that Tarek. They are happy that Tarek has no flash now. But he has a nice amount of armor. 65. He's got that shadow ranked up a little bit. So he's not the weakest champion in the game, but he's certainly not super durable right now. So that's a little bit scary. Looks like they'll be okay for now. And yeah, this looks happy for everyone.
A lot of pings going on the top side of River, and against all authority are stacked up around there, but you know they're very, very worried about going for any kind of Baron push at this stage. And it looks like Games are actually going to go for a bit of a middle push.
This is why I like this actually, especially if they can make AAA push through the jungle to defend this instead of coming through the river. They have really great Anivia wall positioning, but instead no, they're gonna force AAA to sort of play by the Baron. This is good position for AAA. They want to fight in these more open areas. It's good for Nunu. It's good enough for Malzahar. It's good for Janna because you can push people in really odd locations, and it basically means that Anivia cannot block off full paths, and that's really what Anivia and Brand want to do, is force you into very small areas where you're sure that the Brand ultimate will hit. Additionally, Game does not want to fight in a lane. They do not want a chance for minions to pull basically the aggro from Pyroclasm. You do not want that Brand ult to hit anything but a champion, and that's the problem when you fight in lane, is you have that ability to basically lose out on your ultimate and have it bounce to minions. So right now Kevin's going to do what he can to pick down this Golem, and doing a pretty good job of that. He's definitely going to want that Golem buff. So he's doing a good job of it so far. It looks like Momo, has timed out, so he has about a minute until his Golem respawns. This is going to be a great time for Games to take a fight, is when they have Anivia with Golem and Momo without. Because Momo, only at 2/3 mana, can run out partway through this fight. His ult's going to cost a couple hundred, E costs 120. The other spells cost in upwards of 100 location as well. So he only gets 2 to 3 rotations of spells before he runs dry, and that's going to be really nice for Game if they can win a longer, more drawn-out fight.
See against all authority there, just clearing out walls once again around that Baron area. Maybe we're going to see something of a push actually up on top. The Hawk shot coming out from Yellow Star. And yeah, he is up in this top lane. We are seeing pings there from Gamed, but I think if against all authority are quick, they could have been a lot quicker there. Obviously they didn't quite know where Gamed were going to be, but they are going to push in onto this turret, and they could have maybe taken that down if they were a little bit quicker in their execution of pushing onto that lane, because it was just Yellow Star just hammering away at those minions. The rest of them were just waiting in the wings to see what came around. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't anything, and they didn't really manage to get that as well. Linnak will move in and again remove this Baron ward. So I guess this Oracle really has already paid off for Linak.
Yeah, and the good thing here for AAA is that the Nunu is actually building tanks, so he's the Oracle's carrier, and he's the one who's they don't want to kill most of anyone. He doesn't have a lot of incremental damage. He has the the big channel on the ultimate. When that's done, you kind of want to start ignoring Nunu. You know, the blood boil is nice, but that has a long enough duration that if you kill Nunu, it doesn't really drop away. Ash will still have that for the next 10 seconds or so, depending on when they ended up casting it. So Ash going for the solo onto that lizard buff. Momo going to take the golem for himself. That's really good for AAA. They really want that. They're going to pick that one up pretty much safely. And so it's now Game that's going to sit around and move towards the bottom jungle. This is actually pretty smart for them. They have not a lot of ward control. They have put a new one down at Baron, and they're going to go for Dragon. AAA knows this. The Hawkshot is out. This is going to be a pretty close contended fight. Looks like they're still going for the Dragon. They're going to maybe back. No, they're going to stay for it. I think they should. It's down to half health. As long as they can get a good Anivia wall, they're fine for this. No, here comes the Ash arrow that completely whiffs. So Xylor in the front. Here comes the team fight. The damage output is immense. They're going to jump onto Linak first, which is a bit of a mistake. Now Xylor in the front, going to flash backwards. And there's a kill on the Candy Panda. Looks like a Mumu going to drop down as well. A good ult from Nunu's going to drop down a couple of these champions. 2 kills for nothing. And Rake will put down some damage on the Linak. Linak might survive, though, and now Rake's been spotted and caught by Ash. Now Kevin in bad shape, going to get knocked up by that Janna, and he's kind of in an alone position right now. Takes an Ice Blast to the face, and Kevin's going to go down, making that a 4-0 trade. Soaz and Linak both extremely low, but staying alive. And those tanks running in front. And look at that. Malzahar's kind of low, but Janna, Ash, they've taken no damage at all. Yeah. And so they've positioned their tanks perfectly. Linak and Soaz did a perfect job in that game. Took all the damage and got away with under a third health, each of them. Linak extremely low, making it away. And that's just wonderful team fight positioning by AAA. I really think Game could have just walled right here. I mean, you look at this, and they have positioning right around here. The enemy team is around here. A wall could have lasted up to about this location, had a little small entrance right there. And, I mean, that Amumu, Taric, Tristana, I mean, all of them can push back through there and keep you from really jumping through. And if you could have walled here, ulted there, blocked the entrance, they could have pulled Dragon this way, so they had positioning the tanks in front, Tristana in the back, and just killed that and had that really nice wall of positioning right there where they had to run through. But looks like Baron is the attempt there. Amumu has gotten into range. Can they get the stun out in time? No, they will. Ooh, that was close. They almost picked it up. Candy Panda will have to flash back. Nif will go down. 2 kills for nothing. The Baron has already been picked up by AAA. And that was pretty much a freebie there. Yeah, I missed that one going on, but you know, I was talking about Anivia walls. Who cares about Baron kills? So anyway, AAA picking up 2 more kills and the Baron. They're certainly doing well here. Still, you know, 8,000 gold. I'm actually surprised they're not up more than that. That seems like a small percentage of advantage considering how much they're winning by. But certainly in the advantage now. If AAA wins this game, they will move on to the top 4, and Games will go home, have to fight for 5th, 6th with the loser of Fnatic versus CLG, which is coming up immediately after this series. If AAA wins, stick around because they're going to go right into CLG versus Fnatic immediately after this game. If Game wins, stick around because they're fighting another game of Game versus AAA.
Either way, stick around, basically, is the message.
Either way, stick around, yes.
The entire day.
Stick around the entire day, yeah.
So we've seen Against All Authority starting to push up this middle area. We have a Banshee's Veil on Yellow Star. And obviously Games have respawned in here, so we're not going to see too much aggression possibly from Against All Authority. They still have you know, the bottom lane and the top lane that they can split off to very quickly from this position. And maybe Yellow Star will end up going alone. Actually, they're going to just go pushing straight through onto this middle turret. And obviously Yellow Star doing the main bulk of that damage. And they will pass through that one without too much of a problem. Only Linak taking a little bit of damage there. And they're possibly just going to continue. Yeah, Yellow Star already pumping out the damage onto this inner turret. There's not much that Game can do, to be honest.
Yeah, they're not quite landing the walls that they need. Every time they drop a wall, and it comes out here, and Nunu's on the back side, and he's safe. They've never yet pincered a guy on the other side of that wall in quite some time, actually, except for these 2v2 ganks that we saw earlier where they pick one up with the wall. They've not gotten any really isolations out, so that's really unfortunate there for Game. We took another push coming in, and oh, they are happy to push onto this turret. AAA doing a great job, and Warwick has jumped into that fight. He takes a stun, but again, it's the tanks in front, which means so little for these guys, and the damage output is huge. Looks like Rake will go down. Candy Panda extremely low as well. Malzahar getting a lot of damage, and he will in fact drop. Looks like Nif, one of the last few alive. He is the only one left here. AAA will pick him up completely easily. This is going to be a dead inhibitor, 5v0. Great fight from Against All Authority. Looks like they might be moving on and be our 3rd team into the winner bracket semifinals. The inhibitor is down. They have only 1 minion, and they don't really care, in fact. Soaz and Linak going to take all the damage from these turrets, and it's not a big deal. Momo actually running up towards the Nexus for no good reason. Everyone is flashing towards that. This is going to be definitely the Nexus down. AAA will move on in this relegation match and be the 3rd team in the winner bracket semifinals.
my opinion, a very deserved victory there from against All Authority. We've seen them. I mentioned this in the European Championship that we don't really see many mistakes from against All Authority. They're generally just a very solid team that throughout a tournament seem to stick at a very, very constant high level. Obviously, some mistakes here and there are going to happen throughout, but against All Authority, for me, being the most consistent European team that we've seen so far, and they're going to be going through into that winning bracket semi-final. Going to be interesting to see how they do. Unfortunately for Game, their run in this tournament is over. They will join the two Southeast Asian teams who obviously have already been knocked out during the group stage. But from Game's point of view, I don't think they can be too unhappy. The look of the draw kind of worked against them in this one, and playing against All Authority, a team that knows them very well from the likes of Go for LoL in Europe, from EMS, things like this, all these European tournaments that are going off on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
these teams know each other very well, and Game said it before. They know this is going to be a super tough one.
Yep, and it really was. Super close game, but in the end, AAA really putting on the better play in this game. Really, they put on a real clinic for the team fights. And I thought, the team fight's not super strong. They have kind of this mix and match of really strong champions that are good individually, but I don't know how their team fight's going to be. But in the end,
it worked out quite well.
Tanks played perfectly. Linak and Soaz running up in front, just taking all the aggro. I mean, Soaz played like more aggressive than anyone I'd ever seen, where you're just like, there's a team fight, my team's kind of close by, let's just go for it. Let's just jump on some guy. And he'd lock up someone. It usually ended up being Rake, and then Rake would take an Ashro to the face, then Nunu would flash in, channel the ultimate, and even though Amiibo would ult and get all this damage output from all the spells, it just was not enough. The Brand ultimate never really killed anyone because he was never in range of Ashe and Janna. He was in range of Nunu and Warwick, and they built tons of magic resist. Warwick had 80 magic resist at level 4. Like, how are you going to stop that? That's not, you don't kill an 80 resist magic resist, 80 magic resist Warwick at level 4. He heals himself, and he jumped in there, had like 2,000 health, tons of resists.
Yeah.
You don't kill that champion. You don't even try to kill that champion. He built tank. You ignore him, and the fact that he got to half health and below every single fight, I think was a mistake from Game.
And if you look down the scoreboard after it, Momo, again, I don't remember the last time I've seen Momo had a bad game, to be honest. Obviously, he was kind of counter-picked in that one. We had Karthus banned first of all, which is the usual choice that we see from Momo.
Yeah.
And Nivea was picked first by Kevin from Game, so that was out of the question. He then went for Malzahar, played a 9-0-6 game, had a massive amount of farm, way above anyone actually else in the game. So really solid performance from Momo. Kuja, who playing the support champion there with Janna. Again, if you look at his score, not all that impressive, but 13 assists, definitely what you're looking for with that support champion. Yellow Star 5-1-10, Soaz 4-0-11, as you said, really kind of unstoppable with that lane wick, and Linak 0-1-13. Really great initiation there from Linak. So just overall a very solid performance from against All Authority, and they thoroughly deserve, in my opinion, their spot in the upper bracket semi-final.
Yeah, that was very, very well deserved, and I believe they'll be fighting Team Solomid next round when that comes in later today after our next relegation match, which is going to be Counterlogic Gaming versus Team Fnatic. CLG will be in the advantage. They need to go 1-0 and they're good. Fnatic must win Tuesday, but this time Fnatic does have PK with them. His flight was delayed, so he had to miss out on the group stage games. He is back. He's ready to go. Now, I don't think the groups would have went necessarily much different. I think, the European qualifiers showed up that against All Authority was the better team, and they showed they were the better team against Gamed. And I think, they showed it against Fnatic the same way. So I feel like the groups would have probably ended up the same way with Epic winning out in first place, AAA showing themselves very strongly, and I think the groups played out probably the same. But now it's time to show which group was the stronger group, right? We saw, first place Epic, great job. Second place against All Authority did beat the third place from Group B. Certainly the groups aren't too unbalanced right there. But I'm really excited to see Fnatic versus CLG. I actually think Fnatic has it with PK here. I just, I thought Team Solomid, and I thought, I thought Team Solomid was going to lose yesterday, so I take that one back. So I'm just all over the place on my predictions apparently, so never mind. But I think Fnatic has this one. I think they're energized. They've got the home court. They're the Swedish organization. They got some Swedish players here. The only team here, I believe, with Swedish players, so that's kind of helpful. That seems like a small advantage to have. And I think they're looking super, super strong. But actually, one thing we can do, though, is
we can do a recap of the last game. We do have a cool telestrator here that we can sort of draw on and point out some of the cool clips from the last game that I actually want to do right here. So up on my screen, if we can pull that one up, I want to go over the very first gank that we had, the double kill that Candy Panda did, where he sort of jumped on and got that double kill. Fortunately, I still see me, so I'm going to diagram with my hands for now, and if I see that update, then we can move on.
Year to year. And
yeah, right. So there's a turret right here. We're going to use this button. That's going to be the turret, right? There's a turret right here. And then there were champions, and Ash and Janna were kind of chilling around. But Amumu comes in from the side, lands the bandage toss, pops the deal, but Ash cleanse, flashes around. There's going to be tons of, by the way, images now of me doing random motions, and they're going to be on the internet, and it'll be great. But Ash comes, flashes around. Yeah, it'll be hilarious. Actually, I'm a personal fan of the GIF of Karen going for the high five with Linak, and Linak's like, hi, and walks by. And I was talking to him actually before this game. I was like, dude, why did you high five Karen? He's like, we're French. We don't. What's a high five? I don't. What are you talking about? I think he learned that now what was going on there. But
I don't believe that, by the way. I know French people that high five.
Okay, so
everyone knows how to.
So Linux full of it, and it was just dissing on Karen.
Linux was just
ouch.
Like,
ouch. That's kind of messed up. Linak, I'm not a fan. Although also I was talking pregame with Linak, and was like, actually, you have a story about. Pressing sound clips with certain kills.
During the European Championships, European qualifiers, Linak said, every time I get a kill with Nunu, I will dance. And he actually did it. He actually did it as well, which was, quite impressive. And my promise to him was the next tournament, which unfortunately happened to be the Season 1 Championships, but I'll do it sometime, in another broadcast that doesn't mean so much. I had some French music on my playlist, and I said to him, I'll make a little clip of that French music, which apparently he really likes. And every time you get a kill, I'll bind it to a keyboard button and I'll play it every time. And he's like, okay, cool. Yeah, and I'll dance after every kill. And he really did it, so I have to play up to my side of the bargain.
Yep. But we do have interviews coming up with the players post-game. We're going to kick that over to them. We'll see you soon.
Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and we hope you enjoyed the first game of Day 2. I'm here with Candy Panda from Game DE. We're going to talk a little bit about the questions that you have about the first game. So, you started off first blood and a double kill. How'd that make you feel?
Well, it felt great. We thought we had the advantage, but then people started to, lose. They didn't concentrate, and then we gave away a few kills, and then we lost our advantage.
Well, I personally, I'm really, really bad with Tristana, and you are not really bad. I mean, you're amazing with Tristana. I've never seen anyone play her like you. What's your big secret?
Well, actually, I learned everything from Tristana from a player named Habicht. It's a friend of mine, and he plays the great Tristana, so I learned a lot from him. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, you guys played really well, but as you said, it wasn't enough. So what do you think is the big mistake that happened in that game?
Well, we didn't make one big mistake. We make a lot of small mistakes, like giving away a few kills, and we didn't make one big mistake.
Awesome. I've been talking with Candy Panda from Gamer DE. We're going to shoot it on over to Karen, who's talking with AAA.
Double kill on you. Were you guys worried at all about that? It was a crazy beginning of this game.
Yeah, that was a bad beginning. We knew he was coming. We saw him, but we were hoping that Nunu had the time to come, but he hadn't. We took the dive, and they did great, and we died.
It was very dramatic in the beginning for sure. So at the very end, it was very dramatic at the end as well, where you guys had, you won that Baron fight, you won the Dragon fight, which took you to Baron, which took you into their base. Now, how did you guys set that up?
Well, it always go like after each fight or each Drake, you check your cooldowns, your summoners, everything. And if you have enough and you know that they don't have, because they were really depending on the Amumu ultimate, if you know they don't have the Amumu ultimate and Anivia doesn't have her blue, you just go to push, 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 and they can't stop it.
That was very impressive. That's a lot of quick thinking in the span of a few seconds, I'm sure. So, one last question for you. So, who did you really have to focus in that game from the other team?
Well, Candy. Candy Panda.
Great. And okay, so my final request. So I got denied a high five from you yesterday. Can I have a high five today?
I don't high five.
Thank you so much, and back to you.
Wow.
Yeah, that was good. Good job, man. Really denied again. I can see the threads being posted already.
Holy knock. Holy knock. So, by the way, for those wondering, apparently our train of thought right now is all about Candy Panda. I actually have his runes and masteries on my screen. If you want to kick back over to my monitor, I'll show you what he does. But his marks are armor penetration, his seals are attack speed, his glyphs are mana regeneration per level, so 8.9.
Yeah, let's get onto Freak's screen so we can see that one.
And the quints are flat health, so when that shows up, you're going to see that one. But armor pen, attack speed, MP5 per level, flat health. There we go. Bam, look at that one. On the right-hand side, you can see that. Thank you guys very much in the back for kicking that one over. Armor pen here on the marks. Once again, attack speed. I'm just going to say it like 7 times because, that's all I do. There's a red that says, does Freak ever stop talking? And the answer is no. And so there's the runes there. The mastery is 2190, taking magic penetration and plus ignite. Basically every possible offense talent you can, minus not a lot of attack speed. And then strength of spirit seems to be the mastery of the day for every champion ever. They're really all about that strength of spirit, so a lot of extra health regen. That really does help you out a lot. Meanwhile, I want to actually check out MoMA's real fast, since we might as well kill some post-game time for what these guys are doing. MoMA went 9-0 as Malzahar. Super, super good play. Check out his setup because he seemed to be like the player of the day. A lot of ability power on these. MP5, AP per level, magic pen. So this is pretty much the exact standard mage setup you see on 90% of casters. AP quints, MP5 yellows, AP blues, and magic penetration. Okay, and so on the 9-0-21, he's got the improved exhaust, the sorcery and archaic knowledge, so standard 9 offense tree. You can see in the utility tree, improved ghost and flash. Interesting that he took 3 summoner spells improved. I think he actually doesn't want to crit. In case he's trying to last hit with 2 auto attacks, he doesn't want to actually crit something and not get that kill. That's my theory. I could be entirely wrong, of course, but standard utility spec as well. If we have any other special requests, is there anyone you really saw that you really wanted to see what his sort of pregame stuff was?
Yeah, Candy Panda, but you already showed it.
Yeah, we showed him. So as Rook the Lane Wick. Yeah, that's fun. Let's do. So the Warwick and Aurelia, the same exact setup. Health quints, armor seals, so flat armor, magic resistant health, and then armor pen reds, which is a little bit interesting for Warwick because he's mostly magic damage, but I trust that one there. But armor, magic resist, flat health, pretty standard defense setup, and then there we go, 0-27-3. Yeah, just everything that could possibly be useful in the defense tree, actually putting in points to take minus damage from minions, just stacking up those stats right there, and then a little bit of regen and experience gain.
Yeah, so there we have a few of the runes and masteries. A little bit of a behind-the-scenes look, I guess. Something that you don't really, normally get to see from these players. You see, you get these guides here, there, and everywhere. Some great ones, of course, out there. But it's always nice to see from professional players what they're actually going for, what they're aiming for. So before we go into the next game, which of course is going to be Fnatic taking on Counter Logic Gaming, we are going to be going into a quick video, which is a brief recap of what happened yesterday.